Um, Good afternoon and welcome to the TCIPG monthly webinar. And as you know, TCIPG is about all aspects of the emerging smart grid. And one aspect that we pay particular attention to and that we're very proud of is that involved and engaged consumers are very much part of the smart grid mission. And to that end, it's important for people to be aware of what smart grid is, how it functions, how it will work. And Jana Sebestik, who is STEM director in the Math, Science, Technology, Education department within the School of Education here at the University of Illinois. She's been part of TCIPG, and if you've been to any of the TCIPG events, such as previous summer schools, she's had quite an active presence. And she's going to tell you about all the various resources and educational outreach that she has had. Her mission is primarily K-12, which is just kindergarten through 12th grade, and STEM. That's an acronym, Science, Technology, Engineering, and Mathematics Education, which is, of course, an important policy priority at the moment nationally. But I can say from personal experience that at the 2013 summer school that TCIPG put on, Jana had some of her kits, and she had a lot of professional researchers from TCIPG and a lot of people from the utility industry getting very much into these tabletop demonstrations with these kits. So it was all a lot of fun, and she'll tell us all about that program. We're also going to have a presentation from Tim Yardley, who is Associate Director of Technology within the Information Trust Institute. Most of us know Tim as the director of the test bed, the Power Systems test bed at the University of Illinois, and he has been involved in open curriculum development. He is the chair of the summer school this year for 2015. So he will describe the outreach that TCIPG is doing in terms of college and professional workforce. So without any more, Jana, thank you.
Thank you, Al. Good afternoon. So we're here to talk to you about why it's important for other people to know what it is that you're doing and how we have begun to do that and how we're going to ask you to help us continue that mission. So it's important that we are able to implement some smart grid technologies, and it's also important that other people besides academics and researchers and industry people believe that it's important. We want people to realize that there are futures in the power and cybersecurity careers, that it takes taxpayer money and governmental will to accomplish our policies. So we need for everybody to be engaged. We want to spark interest in this larger smart grid society. We want to think about who needs to know, who wants to know, and what it is that they need to know or want to know. We define our society as a large number of people: power utilities, technology vendors, K-12 education, post-secondary education, the workforce, funding agencies, the general public, parents, grandparents, the media, everyone who needs to know something so that we can further the mission and make this work well for everyone. We think about this engagement or the path to active engagement in some parts. First, we want to create awareness, and we want to think about who's aware and where the information comes from. We would like to think that an academic institution creates awareness in an informative way, that we don't want the general public to get all their information from a 30-second commercial on TV sponsored by a special interest group. We don't want people to have misinformation, and so we want our information to be in a place where people can access it and become interested and informed. We want the next step then to become supportive of what it is that we do, to make decisions that are beneficial to the work that you all are doing, and to become actively engaged. And by actively engaged, we might mean careers, we might mean working in the industry, we might mean proposing new ideas, entering the workforce. We're going to talk a little bit today about our efforts, about the impact of those efforts, and then we're going to invite you to participate in outreach efforts beyond what you're doing already. One of the things that we first started with in TCIPG education were some Java applets that allowed young people, or anybody actually who can access them on the web, to interact with the power grid in some really small ways, to look and see how things are organized there. And this by far has been the biggest impact, the broadest impact. We have a wide variety of people who access these applets on the web. They're available for free. And we don't always know when someone stumbles upon them, but we hear from people who use them and they let us know. And so we're going to look at one of those right here. If I can make this do what it's supposed to do. So on our website at TCIPG Education, we have interactive activities and resources, and we have a link to our Minecraft initiative. And this particular applet shows electricity flowing through the power grid. It shows 5 sources of generation and 3 different kinds of communities: in industrial, commercial, and residential. It has switches that you can move to either close or open the lines. Each of the lines has a maximum capacity, and if you were to overload that capacity, some things might happen that are not that interesting, or maybe they're more interesting. So, come on here. All right, as we get close to capacity, the color of the arrows changes. Orange indicates that we're at 85% capacity, and if we just go a little bit farther, we've created a problem. Notice there's a red line. Now there's another red line, and if we don't do something about those, we can create some kind of blackout. All of the applets, there are 5 altogether, are accompanied by some challenges that are on the website, a quick start guide, and a booklet of lessons that are appropriate for classroom use that can be printed. There are trading cards and posters and other things that go with these as well. Just gonna go back. So, and if you haven't seen it yet, later in the presentation there'll be a URL so you can get to these. These particular applets, some of them have to do with power and energy in the home. Others look at what happens if we have storage available to us. One of the other ones looks at the economics and emissions of the power grid. They have been adopted by people away from Illinois for a variety of reasons. National 4-H looks at them. The Project Lead the Way program looks at them. We know that from our analytics, since we've been collecting those in January of 2008, that there have been 410,000 page views, that every part of the globe except for Greenland, Iceland, and a few countries in Africa have downloaded the applets and looked at them. We occasionally get email from people all over the world asking us if we can please translate them into their language. People email us. So sometimes if there's a Java update and people don't update their Java right away, we'll get an email from somebody saying, I'm using these in my classroom next week and I'm having trouble, can you help us? So we do find out when people have troubles. The applets are part of the middle school curriculum for Project Lead the Way. Project Lead the Way is a pre-engineering program for primarily middle school and high school students. There are Project Lead the Way programs implemented in 6,500 elementary, middle school, and high schools in all 50 states and in the District of Columbia. We're part of the Southern Regional Educational Board's College or Career Initiative. They call it Advanced Career, and one of the modules in that is an Energy and Power Foundation's career training. That particular program covers southern states, and they wrote to us, asked us for permission to include the applets in their career program. We work closely with KidWind out of Minneapolis, and through KidWind we've been working with the atmospheric research forecasting simulations in New York in a project that's funded by NYSERDA. There are offshoots of that program at SUNY, at Buffalo State, at Morrisville State College, and that's reaching a 612 audience in most of northern New York. Our newest initiative has to do with this guy. Do you recognize him? Anybody? All right. If you have contact with the middle school audience, you probably have seen this creeper. TCIPG has developed a Minecraft World of Power that is a piece of Minecraft. Minecraft is a game that was developed in Sweden. It has had over 16 million downloads, and it's open to people who want to implement some of their own creative work and embed it in the game. And so we have made a world that has a power grid research to it. We have perhaps less talking, and you can kind of see. Talk over that music, can you hear me? All right, so a person who enters our world will build a neighborhood first, build a home first, and then learn as they go through a variety of quests that are embedded in the game to make fuel for a nuclear power plant, to climb inside a wind turbine, to place solar panels on their house, or to connect to a solar farm, to investigate logic gates, to learn about passive house design, and use what they have already explored in various parts of other Minecraft worlds that they have invented to explore the power grid. There's a component where they enter a computer programming lesson where they write a little bit of code that allows them to password protect the doors on their house, or maybe they want to build a trap door to keep people out of their stuff. And technically here. So we've been working with students at Urbana Middle School to refine what we have here. We've been going there twice a week after school for almost a year now, and the students there have been helping us perfect our lessons. Soon, we should have a series of lessons on our website. You can download our particular world now. We will be submitting our world to the Minecraft EDU, which is an educational offshoot of Minecraft, has a library, and we can have our world there. We've used it at the University High School Agora Days here. We demonstrated it at the USA STEM Festival in Washington, D.C., and hopefully you are interested in downloading our game and giving us some feedback. Another initiative are hands-on kits. We've developed 4 or 5 packets of hands-on materials that you can use to as outreach with your own kids or with kids in a school. You can download the instructions for those from our website, and then you can source the materials. We'll give you a shopping list where you can do that. 2 of our earlier games, one of them was a solar-powered house, and another one was a solar-powered car. Our most recent is a smart switches activity where you can use a circuit board and power a little neighborhood. We have partnered with 4-H, and 4-H has what they call 4-H Mall. It's a place where people can buy things from 4-H, and we're in the ending stages of our conversations with them so that the kits will be available to purchase through 4-H Mall. And again, anybody on the internet can certainly go to 4-H Mall, and it is advertised to the whole 4-H audience in the whole United States. We also go places and talk to people about what we're doing, and we've developed a couple of things that allow us to sort of draw attention to our work and then perhaps invite people to come and talk to us. It's always good to talk to people one-on-one. You can see that this is at the Urbana Farmers Market, and you can see the solar-powered dollhouse, which is here, and if you're interested later on, you can come up and see how our son, is powering the lights and the fan inside the dollhouse. And what happens if we cover it up? I think the lights will go out. A lot of times it's a good way to get people to engage with us, and then we can talk to them about other aspects of the power grid. We built a solar-powered outdoor playhouse at local museum. We've built a kit of materials that you can put together to make your own neighborhood that's powered by a variety of sources, a hand-powered hand crank generator, solar power, batteries, you can cook up a wind turbine, you can put the houses wherever you want them. And as Al mentioned earlier, we offered a hands-on activity at our summer school in 2013 where we asked the people in the audience to work together with a group to power a series of LED-powered houses and then to connect with each other using a variety of power sources. And I think they did about as well as most 7th or 8th graders can do on this one. But it's fun, right? So what we'd like to do is we'd like for you to become outreach ambassadors for smart grid education and the work that we are promoting. So I know you're aware and informed, and we'd like to move you to the supportive and decisive phase. We'd like for you to become actively engaged in schools in your neighborhood, community events. We'd like for people to have a good idea of where the electricity is generated, how it gets to their homes, and why it's important that we implement smart grid technologies, that we implement technologies that allow us to use the energy that we have wisely. And I'm going to let Tim talk to you about the things that we're doing post-secondary and in the workforce.
Thank you, Jana. So all of that great work that Jana just talked about is setting the stage for impact in other areas as well. So we're going to talk a little bit about the graduate education sort of realms, the internships, the summer schools, workforce development and training, industry workshops, and short courses that have also come out of our initiatives. So we're all superheroes in some way. We're trying to be better, right? So as Jana said, we want to move to the decisive sort of realm. So one of the ways that we do that is through industry collaboration. We engage early with our industry partners to make sure that we're solving the right types of problems, that we're looking at the right areas, that we're providing short-term impact, medium-term impact, and long-term impact to the sector. So something that's near and dear to my heart is impact. We don't want to just write papers. We don't want to just do research for research's sake. We want to make sure that the stuff that we work on gets out into the world and really makes a difference. One way to do that is via tech transfer. Another way is engagement with industry. So let's talk a little bit about that. Each year we hold an annual industry workshop. The most recent one was November 12th and 13th of 2014. Those archives are now available online. Each year that we run that, it tends to grow. It's an invite-only event. The most recent year we had approximately 200 or so people that attended that were invited to the facility, and that includes our researchers, industry, academia, government, national labs, vendors of various different types, and all sorts of other attendees as well. As I mentioned, it's an invite-only event, but that's really a strong way to engage. We've had a lot of our partners in various different ways say that this ends up being a line item on their budget to make sure that they attend. The nice thing is at least in the past, that line item has been a zero cost in terms of actually attending the event and just travel and other aspects. But it's really a strong way to engage with the academic community, and we fully embrace that. We've also built stuff. So when I say we built stuff, we build technology. We take the research that we've created and we turn that into actual production level code that goes into the field. Part of that is through the test beds that you've heard me talk about before. Others are through developing platforms that hopefully will make impact on the world via either open source or various other mechanisms. On the right-hand side, you'll see something we developed early on called the TCIPG Smart Meter Research Platform. That's basically an AMI architecture, an advanced metering infrastructure architecture that allows our researchers to start playing with this type of technology and understanding it without having to reverse engineer commercial products and figure out how they work and try to modify them by tagging code onto that and doing other things. It's an open platform that allows them to do research. We've been working on getting that released open source, and hopefully that'll be released open source in the future so lots of other people can use it. And then we also have technology that goes into products too. So you see an SEL device there on the left. That's an SEL 421 relay. We don't have anything that's in specifically that relay, but representative of companies like Schweitzer Engineering that have incorporated TCIPG research, like Autoscopy Junior, and incorporated that into their products that then better their product and provide impact on the market. So talking about products that make it to market or technology that transfers, we have all sorts of things that we've released over the time. This is a select highlight of some of that. The first one I'll mention is called Cygate, Secure Information Exchange Gateway. That's an open source gateway that was co-developed with Grid Protection Alliance that allows you to reduce the cost of information exchange amongst utility partners. You can go check that out. If you just Google for Cygate, you'll find the link to the project page and all the open source code and other aspects for that. Another one is Mobius, going down the left-hand side. Mobius is a model-based environment for looking at the validation of system reliability, security, performance, et cetera, of systems. So it uses formalisms and allows you to reason about architectures as you're creating them. That's been available for over 10 years in various different domains, with some specific power grid related and security extensions being added more recently to it within the past couple of years. But that tool is available for academic and research use free, and licensed use for commercial as well. And if you Google for Mobius, you'll find that on the web as well. Another one is GridStat. It's been a long-running project that has been developed under TCIPG and other funds. And that's really a middleware framework for looking at robust, flexible, secure communication of real-time data for the electric grid. So that work comes out of our Washington State affiliates, being led by Dave Bakken and Carl Hauser, and is something to look at if you're looking at fault-tolerant middleware that's tailored to this particular domain. Another one that's come out of our efforts is called NPView. That was formerly called NetAPT as a research project. APT has this kind of bad notion associated with it now due to all the hacking. So that was, the advanced persistent threats, sorry. That tool was renamed and commercialized through an effort provided support under DHS for. And what that really is a tool that allows you to look at firewall rules and communication paths in a system and compare those to global policies, to look for violations of those global policies, what specific rules cause those violations, and then allow you to correct them. So basically plugging the holes in your firewalls and your perimeter level protection that are there, and allowing you to reason about those in both an offline and online way. Another project that's come out of our research is called Analyzer. That's a specification-based intrusion detection system specifically built for the AMI market. Again, formalisms being used there to validate the results so you don't get false positives. You know that if a policy you put in place is what you want to have enforced, you're guaranteed that the system can enforce it and that it won't produce any false output associated with that, using mathematical formal proofs associated with that. That has a management council and other things that have been created as well. And that's available at a beta level. It's not a commercial tool at this point, but it is in deployment in the field and is in use at several utilities monitoring pilot projects and hopefully more utilities moving forward as well. Out of our Dartmouth group, we have a startup that was formed called Riverloop Security that's taken a whole bunch of really cool research from Dartmouth and packaged that up and provided services and additional support and additional work on that space. So that focuses on assessments in the wireless spectrum, specifically looking at things like Zigbee. Allowing you to reason about these tools using the premise that if you don't have a tool that allows you to look at the security of a system, how can you possibly assess the security of that system? So how can I interrogate a radio that I don't know how to talk to other than what the manufacturers program it as to talk to? So they've developed tools like AppyDo and others that allow you to assess Zigbee radios and profile their behavior and provide some services around that, including evaluative research. So looking at things like, well, is this secure? Is it compliant with the specifications? Is it doing what it's supposed to do and only what it's supposed to do? Those types of things. So some great impact and effort for that, and that's been used by a number of national labs in terms of the tools and a number of companies as well to evaluate the impact of deploying things like consumer protection devices and other things to their users. And then further, the footprint that actually impacts the grid as well. Is there a vector where these Zigbee radios that are in home area networks can be used to attack the grid? And allowing you to assess and understand that as you start looking at a larger sort of realm. So not to be alarmist in any way, not saying that there is that vector, but it allows you to assess and evaluate whether or not that vector is a problem or exists at all. So on the graduate side, there's all sorts of things we've done. We have a student reading group, and that student-led reading group is really focused on the students getting together and engaging to make sure that they have the knowledge that they want to learn as you start merging these cyber-physical systems together, where you get power engineering knowledge, you get cyber knowledge, you learn how these interact, learn how to combine these, learn what the impact of these different systems are, et cetera. Filling those gaps of, well, I'm a power engineer, I don't know anything about computers, or I'm a computer, I don't understand this whole power thing, and making it so that everyone kind of is at a somewhat level footing in terms of understanding these different spaces, cross-pollinating and sharing that information. So that's key for interdisciplinary research, which is our focus, but it's also key for the workforce of the future, making sure that the people that are entering the market understand the dynamic relationships between these different systems and how they go together. So that reading group is somewhat internal to our partner institutions, but we publish up to the website each week the presentations in PDF form effectively to the site, that you can see the types of information that they're sharing and other stuff like that. So Arizona State University, Dartmouth, University of Illinois, and Washington State University are ones that have direct access to that as an actual course, and then the material is available publicly to the world at tcipg.org. So internships are another way. So I mentioned that we want to prepare our people to go into the workforce and have impact in the workforce by having this interdisciplinary knowledge. So another way we do that is by getting them into the field. So we actually try to get our students and our other people placed with the utilities, with the industry partners, with the vendors to understand, well, how do generators really work? Or what is this protection system, and how does that actually work in practice? How do they go about engineering the actual grid? So that they can take the knowledge that they've accumulated in classes, that they've built up in understanding this from an academic perspective and a theory perspective, and see how the boots meet the ground and how it actually works in the real world. And the challenges that they have when they start deploying things like emerging technology and other aspects. So that's one way that it happens, is via internships, but also students, when they graduate, they need full-time jobs. And the industry, the sector as a whole, needs people that understand this space, needs people that come to the table knowing things about power engineering and knowing things about cybersecurity, and having looked at and worked with these systems to actually be able to provide impact at the organizational level. When a new employee is brought on at a company, they often spend a lot of money training them. And hopefully this provides a shortcut to that by getting people that are not just understanding these systems, but that understand them at a deep theoretical level as well. And that can help move the ball forward in terms of evaluating new research and evaluating new products and their applicability to those companies. It also facilitates tech transfer in a way too. So by bringing in a key researcher on a technology that a company is interested in, they kind of get a foothold above everyone else on implementing that technology. So we see a lot of companies that will hire people that they're interested in the technology that we've developed, and they'll bring them on to do actual implementation in their product lines and move forward from there. So all sorts of great things, and also the opportunity to just exchange ideas, to have open dialogue. So one of the things about internships is they're two-way streets. The companies learn from the students and the employees, and the employees and students learn from the companies. So that knowledge then comes back into our program, allows us to refine our research and provide even more impact and more applicable work to the utilities as they move forward. So that's great with the students, but what about beyond the students? What about the people that are already in the field? So as you all know, we have an aging workforce when it comes to the electric utility sector. There's a lot of aging technology. There's a lot of people that have been in the field building these systems and making them secure and robust for us for a long, long time. But technology has changed, and lots of other things are changing too. The world is changing daily as we look forward. And you look at initiatives like 20% penetration of renewables by 2020 and various other aspects like microgrids and other technology coming into play. And in a lot of ways, they're old hat, but in a lot of ways, they're very new too. So moving from standard analog controls to digital controls, moving to wireless communications and secured encrypted links and access control and all sorts of things that many of the people in the field may not fully understand yet, but they can be trained to understand that. So we have opportunities for that in the professional development realm. There's a professional master's degree in electrical power engineering that's offered by Washington State, and there's a Master of Engineering in Energy Systems that's offered by the University of Illinois that help with basically workforce, current people being able to explore and apply in new knowledge. So getting cyber people up to speed on power engineering or understanding how these systems interplay, or just, let me brush up on what the current technologies are and understanding and moving that forward. So we have some programs like that, but that's not all we have. We also have short courses, so we have ways that can get people primed or boot camp style trained on varying different topic areas. So we've done a whole bunch of different short courses over the years, and we have plans to increase our efforts in this space and moving out and providing these more and more to industry, including an open curriculum that I'll talk about briefly. So one is a smart grid boot camp. That's really, what is the smart grid? What does this mean? What are the different pieces? What are the places to get started? Kind of, I don't really understand this technology, a primer on the space. We have ones that are focused on things like cybersecurity. So what do you need to understand when it comes to cybersecurity associated with the smart grid? So what is cybersecurity 101 first? What are perimeter level defenses? What are defense in depth? Those types of things that to a cyber person are kind of no-brainer, but to a power engineer, they may not quite understand out of the gate. So then there's the flip side of that. We have a power engineer sort of primer. So the power fundamentals, the power 101 sort of notion. I'm a cyber person. I don't know anything about electrical engineering, or I don't know anything about power engineering or understand generation or anything like that. How, when I flip the light on, does the power actually come, and what does that mean? So we have a short course on that, which gets the cyber-related people some domain knowledge of understanding things like cyber physical systems, understanding power engineering principles, and even down to aspects like control theory and other things as applicable. All of these are tailored in various different ways depending on the audience that we're targeting. We have a program manager primer, so this is more focused towards government or entities that are looking at, well, how do I control or how do I understand the portfolio of the smart grid space? Like, what research needs to be done and how that impacts products and what areas are things that we should worry about. Again, providing some of that boot camp primer, here's the base issues, here's the base technology, et cetera. But with more of a focus, not so much on how do I do the research or what are the real research problems associated with it or the fundamental operational problems of using it, but how do I reason about this at a visionary sort of level? How do I understand what's going on and where it's going? So I mentioned an open curriculum. So all of the short courses we've done in the past and various other aspects have been kind of delivery ad hoc sort of approach. So we've built up this knowledge base over the past 10 years through our various efforts of all this cool technology and all of this understanding and domain expertise. And we're trying to package that up into something that provides a comprehensive understanding of the space in a modular way. So you can look at things like a boot camp, or you can look at things like cybersecurity in the smart grid, or you can look at power engineering primers, or you can look at ethical assessment or hands-on tools and understanding how to actually do all of this in an open and accessible way. So breaking these big topics down into bite-sized pieces so that people can learn and take this on without having to spend 10 months going through a course and then at the end being like, okay, so yeah, I'm done with that now what? And being able to use that material to educate others and make this available in an open and worldwide accessible way. So we're hoping to to have that released very, very soon, and I'll talk a little bit more about the use of that in a moment. Another one that we've done is an ethical assessment in critical infrastructure. So that looks at how do you do things like actually assess the security of a system that's in critical infrastructure. We did this as a hands-on lab in a summer school that we ran in 2013. We've done it in person at a number of utilities. And we have done it internally for a number of academics and other researchers as well. That also will be rolled into, to a certain degree, the open curriculum that I'll talk about a bit more in a second. The audiences of these short courses, obviously, we target industry as our key here. This is meant to bootstrap and understand the space, but we also obviously need to understand and train our people when they're new to the program, and starting with our initiative, so it works with academia. And then we also work with our government sponsors and affiliates to make sure that they understand this space and can provide primers on that as well. So you'll see everyone from utilities to consultants to academic researchers that benefit from these short courses. So to speak a little bit about the hands-on training lab, what we've done is created a utility-like virtual environment that includes typical security flaws or pitfalls, effectively, that people have as they start ramping up and building security into systems. So obviously, security isn't like a light switch. When you flip it on, it's not you get everything and that's that. The lights come on and you're done. Security is something that's phased in, that comes in over time, and that bits and pieces are rolled out, because you can't possibly just say, all right, well, we're going from 100% insecure to 100% secure all by flipping a switch. So as you start phasing in security, there's obviously holes that are caused as, well, you haven't implemented security here yet, or you haven't implemented this feature here yet, or the rollout isn't fully complete, so you have part of the system being secure and part of the system being insecure. So this shows those types of things and what that means as impact to an organization, and teaches people about the ethical approach to assessing this from a professional perspective. So understanding the legal ramifications of doing so, understanding the impact on the system, and understanding how to go about this in a way that's truly productive to the end product, rather than something that's destructive. So you want to make sure that you're providing benefit, not drawback. So we've created a utility company, effectively, that we call TCIPG Co. And I've been involved in creating that, and through great help of Edmund Rogers and Jeremy Jones. Jeremy doing a lot of the technical lifting on putting together the package and building the system that can allow us to provision it. And Edmund Rogers, one of our colleagues here at the University of Illinois and part of the TCIPG effort, who came from the utility space, and making sure that this maps to the types of things that utilities are interested in, as well as providing expertise in other areas as well. So that's an instructor-led course and available for us to do. So if you're interested in that, please reach out to me. Contact information will follow soon. So the summer school I mentioned, that's one of the places that we've actually done that hands-on lab at as part of the core curriculum. But what is the summer school? So we've done the summer school across 3 periods effectively already. Roughly 150 to 200 attendees at each of those periods. The first one was in 2008, which was actually under our TCIP grant, which was by NSF. And then we've done one in 2011 and 2013, as well as we will be doing one in 2015, and I'll be talking about that for a second. So our past summer schools have really been looking at utility and industry practitioners and new people from academia that are trying to understand the space and providing a high-intensity, 1-week, action-packed sort of jump off the deep end, learn everything you need to learn to get started in understanding what it means to do trustworthy cyber infrastructure for the power grid. So you get the Cyber 101 primers, you get the power primers, and you get deep dives into topic areas about various different smart grid-related emerging topics. That's led generally by academic instructors and practitioners from the field. So those are your instructors, per se, that get up there. There's lots of graduate and undergraduate students that attend, and we even offer scholarships of that, approximately 40 scholarships per year to cover the costs of attending the conference. Being a nonprofit university, we obviously are not out to make money on this by any means, so the costs are are as low as we can make them to recover, but still provide value to everyone and provide a world-class event. So we've been very happy, and they've been very well received in the past, and thankfully, due to sponsor support from DHS and Department of Energy, and formerly NSF, as well as company sponsorship that's been directed to help us carry those out, we've been able to do some really great things. But we're not done yet. So 2015, we have a new summer school coming. So I'm the chair of that summer school committee and organizing the new 2015 summer school. The target dates, the set dates, I should say, for that are June 15th through June 19th. So the week of June 15th. And we'll have an agenda and other things out soon, along with the registration site. We will be doing student scholarships again for that initiative, and we do have sponsorship opportunities available. You can go check out tcipg.org/2015-summer-school to get some preliminary information, and we'll keep you posted on the full launch of that for registration. So that's great that we have a new one coming in 2015, but I mentioned that there's a little bit of difference in the past versus what we're doing in the future. So let's talk a little bit about the future of this real quick. So the TCIPG Summer School for 2015 is being based around many of the material that we've accumulated in the past that's been refined and modernized to have a holistic story. And that's providing a comprehensive core base for everything that we're doing, built around the open curriculum, using those modular talks, and then providing deeper and deeper detail as you go through. So rather than somebody standing up there for an hour or 2 hours talking about a particular topic area, you'll get 30-minute chunks and sometimes 1-hour chunks that are providing various different levels of depth in various different areas, and you can kind of pick and choose as you go through the agenda which ones you need to pay more attention to based on your areas of interest or otherwise. There's also lightning talks. We've done those in the past, which are 5-minute talks on emerging research or cool ideas. We'll be accepting proposals for that, so that's a repeat of before. But one big difference about how we're doing it this year is rather than just standing up there and listening to lectures and engaging with questions at the end, we are using a reinforced learning approach. So we'll present a particular topic area, and then we'll provide an environment that allows you to demonstrate your knowledge in that topic area. So let's say if you learn about encryption, then you may do things like actually encrypt an email or generate a signing key or generate an encryption key, and use that and experience how it's actually used and what the tools are that allow you to utilize that, rather than just say, well, I understand encryption, and go from there. So providing a deeper hands-on sort of knowledge. Those integrated exercises also reaffirm the knowledge that you have in the topic areas. And all of this provides that foundational knowledge that you need, that 101 sort of stuff, along with the topic-specific knowledge that you go deeper and deeper into the things. So we'll talk about things like Internet of Things and smart cities and other aspects, and allow you to explore those in depth. We will have hands-on environments available in labs and virtualized environments available in labs that allow you to dig deeper and to talk with experts in the field, subject matter experts from academia and from industry, to explore areas that you're interested in. So if you have an area of interest in research or an area of interest in, what's this technology and what does it mean? So like what's elliptic curve cryptography or what's AMI, and you want to talk with somebody who's actually deployed it or somebody who is an expert in that topic area, you'll have the opportunity to network with them and spend hours with them and explore those types of things. We have networking socials, and we also have a job fair. So we'll be collecting resumes of students that want to have their resume in the resume book, and industry people as well, or even consultants if they want their resumes in a book. To provide to attendees so that they can see what talent is available out there and how that maps to what they're trying to do. And we'll provide opportunities to companies that are sponsoring the event to interact with those people as well. So TCIPG, as I've mentioned, has funding support provided by the Department of Energy Office of Electricity Delivery and Energy Reliability, also known as DOE-OE. And then DHS, Department of Homeland Security, Science and Technology Directorate. And we are very thankful for that. It's allowed us to do some amazing work over the past years, and we look forward to continuing to do amazing work with them and anyone else that we work with in the future. So there's all sorts of links that you can use to get to various different things. You can always go to tcipg.org/education to get to any of these education-related stuff. The summer school links and master's degree programs and other things are also linked there. And this will all be posted publicly here shortly. And you can always reach out to any of us. Jana Sebestik is the director of our education and outreach initiatives under TCIPG, and she's at Sebestik at illinois.edu. Myself, you can reach out to me for anything you want, but the summer school specifically, sponsorship opportunities for that, and more information about the open curriculum and other aspects, along with anything we're doing in the technology impact, workforce training, and other aspects. So if you're a utility or industry member and you're looking for some short courses to be done at your facilities or otherwise, please do reach out to me. And then big thanks also to Sherry Soliday. She isn't up here to present, but she's instrumental in organizing all of this and is always a point of contact that you can reach out to direct and find out information in any of these areas, and she's reachable at csoliday@illinois.edu. So now we'll open up to questions.
Let's see, am I on?
Yeah.
I'd like to invite you to engage with your community, with your school and your community, in community events. I'd like for you to send your students to us or to our other university partners, and I'd like for you to become Energy Smart Grid ambassadors wherever you go, and make sure that everyone knows exactly the important work that you're doing.
Hi, this is a question for Jana. I know you interact a lot with school administrators and so forth. What kind of feedback do you get from them or from parents in terms of the use of the materials and the outreach that you do?
I think a couple of things. One of them is I think it's an area in which there's a lot of lack of information or misinformation in the traditional curriculum. We do try to coordinate with the objectives at the national level in both science and math to make sure that the things that we do are useful to teachers. Teachers and students both appreciate that there's a hands-on aspect to much of what we do, or that there's an interactive aspect for the web tools that we use. We find oftentimes that things that we put out there for students to use, the information goes home, and parents and other family members become involved and find out that they learn things as well.
To add on to that too, we also solicit that same type of feedback from the short courses and workforce training that we do, to make sure that when we deliver this to industry, that we tailor it to what they're wanting their people to learn, and then we take constructive feedback back and improve the program on there so that everyone can benefit as well. So we're definitely doing that throughout the full course of all the stuff that we engage in.
And a question for Tim. What has been your experience so far rolling out the open curriculum and presenting it on would you say it's on a pilot basis at this point?
Yeah, so the open curriculum has not been released publicly in any way, shape, or form yet, but an alpha effective delivery of an early version of that was done on behalf of community colleges. There was approximately, I think, about 50 or so people that benefited from that, about 100 or so then impacted after that, and the related information. And what that was basically going through the initial curriculum material without the hands-on reaffirming exercises yet, and doing a 2-day sort of short course on those types of areas, pared down to about 10 or so of the larger modules that were there, kind of a primer. Feedback from that was very, very good. And then we've also used modules of the open curriculum in various different short courses and engaging with utilities and industry. And the feedback from those have been quite positive as well. We've also seen a nice, as we start spreading the word that this is underway and an initiative that we're trying to release to the public in the near future. We've had companies that have provided or offered to provide content that they use for training people on various different topics that is applicable to the open curriculum and effectively donating that content to the program. So we've seen a lot of interest from that, including from training providers themselves, organizations that do professional training and want to use either what we're doing and incorporate that into their curriculum, or vice versa, provide us content or provide us suggestions on impact. I've also been involved at a national level in things like the NICE competency framework and secure power system professional designations and other aspects like that, that are looking at this at a broader focus, a more national focus of what do we need to learn, how do we need to learn it, and what are the different areas that we need to have in critical infrastructure. So there's a lot of involvement in that then feeds into the program as well. So we're very, very positive on the outlook for the future and looking forward to getting this out to the public for more broader impact.
I have a question from the web. I think it's directed at Tim. What are the biggest contributors to your success in bringing research concepts to real-world solutions?
Well, I think the biggest contributor to the success of that is outstanding researchers, the people. But engaging early with industry is foundational in that. So you can have the brightest minds working on the hardest problems, but if those hard problems aren't the right ones to solve, then the impact isn't as impactful as you would hope. So to make sure that we're successful, we make sure we work on the right problems, we make sure that we have the right people, and then we pair those together and make sure that we continue to foster those relationships over time. So it's not just, oh, you two talk and figure something out. It's that we're there along the ways to help with professional staff and with other researchers that have been through the gamut to make a successful partnership there and to truly provide impact to industry. So, the quick lessons per se of that are engage with industry, engage with the people that have the problems to solve, understand their problems, actually listen to them. Don't come in and be like, oh, I know what your problems are and I'm going to solve them all. But listen to what their problems are, challenge them with what some of their problems are, make them look further forward, make them look at newer technology, things they may be averse to, and see if you can come to something that provides impact both now and in the future, and that really allows the industry as a whole to move forward.
I have a question about the 2015 summer school. I saw that you have added an event, job fair. So can you elaborate on that? What a student might be expecting to bring in a way to succeed to that? Is it targeting cyber student, power student, both?
Sure. So details on the 2015 summer school are not fully solidified yet. We will be releasing more information and providing more context in the very near future on that. But just briefly, the intent with the job fair sort of notion is to provide an outlet for the attendees to get their resumes into the hands of interested parties, and for those interested parties to be able to get their hands on resumes of people that are looking for employment moving forward. So it's not necessarily a formal job engagement sort of job fair where you're standing there and getting interviewed and other aspects, but that very well could be a possible outcome. But it's more just an information exchange to say, here are people that have talents, and here are companies that want those talents or want those skills, and providing a path for them to connect. So more details will follow as we form up exactly the format and other things that we have. But initially the kind of de facto things would be have an updated resume with your areas of interest and areas of study and job experience and research experience and other things, and we'll go from there.
So I have another question from the web, and this is for Jana. I need my readers. In what ways do you evaluate whether students are learning the concepts you're trying to teach them, which is especially tough to evaluate in a non-formal setting? Do you need me to repeat that?
We don't give them tests or evaluate in what you might think is a traditionally formal way, but we do have students perform tasks while we're present. We take things to schools. We watch them when they do it. We watch the lights come on when they wire a circuit, when they put together a house. Sometimes they write to us and show us pictures of their science fair experiment. When we try to do something that we do it locally, and then we try to do it and scale it up to a nationwide effect, we don't always know exactly what happened. Some of the work that we have with 4-H, we do have a lot of feedback from them in terms of their volunteers and the work that they do with students in various clubs throughout the nation. And they do report back to us, both critically, and they also applaud us.
I think one thing to add to that on a lot of Jana's activities is that they're very goal oriented. You know, you have to turn the lights on, you have to make the wheels spin, you have to make the town have power. So you do get somewhat immediate feedback if you're there at least. If they can't turn the lights on, then you know they're not doing something right, and they can be helped to do that right. I think the same thing is true with our hands-on assessments and other aspects too, and the exercises we're building into the curriculum is they'll understand, well, that didn't work, and then they can play with and understand why it didn't work and get that kind of self-assessed sort of notion of understanding the topic areas. So I think by having a goal-oriented approach in a lot of these activities, you kind of, you don't get that formal setting necessarily, but you get feedback back to the people of, well, I wasn't able to accomplish my goal. And so how do I fix that?
I also, so the Southern Regional Education Board, right, that was up there, is that a more recent effort? That, I think, is focusing a little bit on high school and career, and even slipping past a little bit past high school into career training. So maybe after they've been working with the curriculum for a while, we can ask them how they're testing their students to know that they're learning the concepts. I do have a question for the Power Park game. If folks are interested in that, what are some options?
Well, a couple of things. One of them is that we will be showcasing some aspects of that at the National Science Teachers Association meeting in Chicago in March. And so we'll be talking to teachers there. We have 2 sessions that we are presenting there on that. We're working with a couple of companies right now to produce templates so that our particular model we cut at the Fab Lab on the laser cutter, and so we provide the files where people can actually cut their own and materials lists so they can build their own. We have challenge cards and scenarios for various people to work with, and we'll be providing those, but we're definitely in the early days as far as dissemination. I don't know if it's almost time to go. I would also just like to invite you, if you want to come up and look at some of our kits at the front table, or in the lobby, we have a demonstration of the TCIPG Minecraft world that's running, and you might want to try to take a shot and see if you can turn the power on without falling in a hole or drowning. And if you'd like to have some screen cleaners or business cards or other things, there's a table out here. Is it time to go?
We have about a minute left. So
Did you have something else?
I'll go ahead and wrap this up.
Any final questions, either here or online? No. Okay. Well, let's thank the speakers, and we're looking forward
Thank you.
to getting the word out about TCIPG. Actually, I do have a quick question. You'll have all your kits up at this event in Chicago next month?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we will.
All right.
And information as to how people can get their own.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Thank you.